So we are reading from Caitanya Caritamrita, chapter 1, text 56, Adi-Lila. Jai Jaya Shri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda, Jai Advaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Jaya Jaya Shri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda, Jai Advaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda, Jaya Jaya Shri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda, Jai Advaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So we in this part of the Caitanya Caritamrita, Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami, he is mentioning the Chatushloki Srimad Bhagavatam, the original verses of Bhagavatam, which was spoken by Krishna to Lord Brahma. Etavad eva jigyasyam tattva jigyasunatmanaha anvaya vyati rekabhyam yatsyat sarvatra sarvada. A person interested in transcendental knowledge must, therefore, always directly and indirectly inquire about it to know the all-pervading truth. Those who are serious about the knowledge of the transcendental world, which is far beyond the material cosmic creation, must approach a bona fide spiritual master to learn the science both directly and indirectly. One must learn both the means to approach the desired destination and the hindrances to such progress. The spiritual master knows how to regulate the habits of a neophyte disciple, and therefore a serious student must learn the science in all its aspects from him. So we can see how Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Caitanya Caritamrita, they are all related, you know. They all reinforce the truth. They all reinforce the truth. Here, Prabhupada is saying we must approach a bona fide spiritual master and learn from him. What shall we do? What shall we not do? To go back home, back to Godhead. There's always do's and don'ts. And then we need to learn that from a spiritual master. We just spoke that the spiritual master is not somebody we see. A spiritual master is we should hear from them. It's not that, oh, this spiritual master is belonging to this particular caste or this particular community, or he looks in a particular way, so this person is my spiritual master. No, we should hear, is this person capable of taking me to Krishna? And that is a guru. There are different grades and standards of prosperity. The standard of comfort and happiness conceived by a common man engaged in material labor is the lowest grade of happiness, for it is in the relationship with the body. The highest standard of such bodily comfort is achieved by a fruitive worker who, by pious activities, reaches the plane of heaven or the kingdom of the creative gods with their delegated powers. But the conception of comfortable life in heaven is insignificant in comparison to the happiness enjoyed in the impersonal Brahman. And this Brahmananda, the spiritual bliss derived from impersonal Brahman, is like the water in the hoofprint of a calf compared to the ocean of love of Godhead. So there are different grades of happiness. It just depends what are we looking for. Now, the first example is given that we are working and we say, I will work, I will get this result, and I will enjoy. And that is the lowest kind of happiness that we can, that enjoyment which gives us some happiness, and that is the lowest happiness. We think it's the highest, no? Now, let me do it, we can all do it, enjoy as much as you can, but that's the lowest grade of happiness that we can experience. It's like, you know, we are having a 5G phone, but we use it only to the capacity of 1G, so we are wasting. We are wasting the capacity. So then the second kind of happiness we can receive a little higher happiness is we say, okay, I will do some pious activities. And with this pious activities in my next life, or even in this life, when we do pious activities, we do have greater level of happiness. And then when I give this body, I'll go to the heaven where I can enjoy a lot of enjoyment. I can, many people say, I'm going to dance with beautiful men or beautiful women. I'm going to drink all the intoxication and I will feel so happy. So that enjoyment is a little bit more than what we get here on the earthly planet. Higher than that happiness is when one reaches the Brahmananda, the Brahman, the impersonal Brahman. That happiness is much more than we can find in this material world, because it's beyond the material world. So there is no that material miseries, there is no entanglement of the three modes of material nature. So that happiness, if we compare to the material world, it's a lot of happiness. But the Shastra says that much happiness is just compared to the water in a hoof print of a calf. Hoof print of a calf. Calf is so small, its hoof is so small, you put water in it, so it's just so small. So the happiness in the material world is like a drop in the desert. And then in the Brahman effulgence, on the Brahman platform, that happiness is to a hoof print of a calf. So if we compare a drop to a hoof print of a calf, it's like, oh wow, there's so much happiness. A drop in a desert with hoof print of a calf seems lots, but the happiness that one can develop, one can experience, that happiness that we can experience when we develop our love for Krishna, that happiness is an unending ocean of happiness. There is no end to that happiness. It keeps on increasing and increasing. The more we can dive deeper into this ocean of love, the more happiness we can feel. And that is the perfection of our life. That is the perfection. Prema Pumartha Mahan. To develop love for God. When one develops pure love for the Lord, he derives an ocean of transcendental happiness from the association of the personality of Godhead. To qualify oneself to reach this stage of life is the highest perfection. Because Krishna, he's the source of all happiness. So naturally, if we associate with him, we will feel happy. You know, it's like whatever we associate with, we take on its color, right? Whatever. If we are always thinking of sad things, we get depressed. Now, Krishna, he's all the happiness that is there that we can experience comes from him. He's the origin of all happiness. So naturally, if we are connected with him in love, then we can feel the maximum happiness. So one should try to purchase a ticket to go back home, back to Godhead. Oh, really? There is a ticket we can buy. Like we are buying a ticket to go to America or to Europe. Oh, we can buy a ticket to go back home, back to Godhead. Let's buy it. So the price of such ticket is one's intense desire for it, which is not easily awakened, even if one continuously performs pious activities for thousands of lives. All mundane relationships are sure to be broken in the course of time, but once one establishes a relationship with the personality of Godhead in a particular ras, it is never to be broken, even after the annihilation of the material world. So the only way that we can go back home, back to Godhead, is we have to have that intense desire, an intense greed. It's called lolium. Lolium, that's the price we have to pay. We can't pay X amount of dollars and say, I'm going back to Godhead. Krishna has all the money. He doesn't care for how much ever money we give him. He says, Lakshmi Devi is pressing my feet. You know, I don't need your money. But what does he want? That we love him so much that we have this intense greed that I must go back. I need Krishna. I can't be without him. And then we establish a relationship with Krishna. Once we establish our personal relationship with Krishna, it can never be broken. We have all experience in this material world. All our material relationships come to an end. It could come to an end because there is disagreement, or even if it's a very loving relationship, it comes to an end with death. That's the nature of the world. But when we establish our relationship with Krishna in any of the 5 rasas, in any one of the 5 rasa, we have 5 rasas, we can have relationship with Krishna in. One of the first is neutrality, neutral. Second is as a servant. Third is as a friend. Fourth is as a parent. And fifth is as a lover, in conjugal love, like how the gopis had with Krishna. So we can have in any one of these 5 rasas, and once we establish that, that is the perfection. That is what our goal is, to establish our love with Krishna, because each of us have a relationship with him. Each of us. It's just we have forgotten. And so we should try to revive that relationship. Is that okay? Shall we read this? But it might be then we won't have time to read Bhagavad Gita. So let's stop here. Yeah. Caitanya Caritamrita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol, Hare Krishna.